This is Daily Blast Live. We're talking about what you're talking about. Real, honest, entertaining, live. DBL starts right now.
3, 2, Welcome to DBL. It's Wednesday, June 30th. I'm here in Pretoria again, and I'm here with Brandon and Jeff. What's up, guys?
What's going on?
You made me laugh at the beginning of the show, Brandon.
Why?
You know what you were doing. I'm not going to.
Okay.
Brandon, he's a handsome man.
He always, he sits, I think he sits in the mirror before the show like, yeah, it's going to be a good day.
No. I'm all about personality, so I'm here to show the people the personality.
Right, I understand
It's
that
not just
completely.
a beautiful face.
Let's get into it. So, guys, it's been a week since the Florida condo came crashing down, and there still hasn't been anyone pulled out alive from the rubble since hours after the collapse happened last Thursday. So, at the time of our taping, 145 people are still unaccounted for. Today, we're getting a look at a letter that was sent from the board president to condo residents back in April. The letter says it's describing the decay of the building, saying, quote, concrete damage observed would begin to multiply exponentially, and observable damage such as the garage has gotten significantly worse. The board reportedly wanted residents to help pay for this. Yes, pay $15 million in repair to the building. As we mentioned yesterday, a lot of people are focusing in on the pool area as a possible weak point that caused the collapse, but there are also a lot of other theories. So some experts think this giant shock test we were all confused about, that the Navy did off the coast of Florida, which registered as a 3.9 magnitude earthquake, could have caused and contributed to the collapse. Area residents also complained about a development project that was right next door, which they said regularly caused the building to shake. So the question is, how would you guys feel if you got a letter saying this from your management, that we're collecting $15 million over the next few years to help pay for what looks like very vague, cryptic damage?
Yeah, I mean, I lived in a condo or in a high-rise when I first moved here in Denver, and they raise the rates for different things, and you get upset as a tenant, like, why am I paying for this? You know what I mean? I'm also paying rent, and now my rent's going to increase due to this problem. I don't know if they were specific enough to say, like, listen, there's possibility of this collapsing. You know, I don't think.
But nobody says that owns a building.
Right, they don't want. I mean, in certain words,
right.
They use a lot of big words in that letter. But if they were like a little more. I think they knew a little bit more what was going on. I didn't think they didn't think it was going to collapse per se, but they knew a little $18 million in renovations that you have to pay for. Again, I don't know if that would be enough to scare me out of the building.
And to be so vague about it, because I mean, you just purchased your first house, you just got your first house. Think about how hard that process was. Think about how someone had to walk you through that. So when we're talking about, I believe in this letter, they were saying like some condos or some of the units, they needed $80,000. A lot of these units are vacation rentals. People aren't even living there. They're renting these things out. So you're trying to make a ROI. You're trying to make your money back. Right. That's a down payment on a house or a condo. So between the vague language and I believe people not knowing when it comes to, or do you have to pay this money? Is it part of the homeowner's insurance? Is it part of my own insurance? I think that led to a lot. And now you're seeing a lot of finger pointing from engineers to pool guys to the government. Yeah.
And it's easy to say what you would do, like if you got that letter back then, knowing what you know right now. I think I would be like, okay, it's time to move. Even right now, there's a jackhammer that goes off every morning in my building. They're fixing the 5-level parking lot. And I'm like, I move next Tuesday. I cannot wait to get out because I'm freaking out based on, like, they keep sending these, we're doing repairs to the parking garage. And I'm like, well, what happens if I'm driving down and it's not repaired?
But then you feel fear a little bit?
I'm actually worried about it, you know, and I'm just like, and I think about it when I leave, like, I wish that Colin could leave with me, you know, while we both would not be there, but it's just like a lot to think about. So I don't think that these residents were automatically panicking when they got that letter before this.
Well, have you called your board? Like now, since that panic mode has kind of set in a little bit, have you called the board of association at your complex to ask, hey, is this safe drilling? Should I be worried about anything?
And I didn't. That's what I mean. And most people don't go through all those steps until, like, most people have water damage and then their roofs caved in and now they're like, okay, I got to call insurance.
I think a lot of people are feeling what you're feeling, though, especially living in high rises like that.
Absolutely. Right. Let's talk about another story. There's a really big debate right now over paying people for working in the office versus people who work from home. Some folks who are heading into the office say they should get paid more. And of course, this comes as more employers are trying to get everyone back from remote working to back into the office. So what do you think? Should those working in person get a pay raise, or is it unfair for people to get paid different amounts for doing the same work, even if one of them can do it from the comfort of their own home? Let me tell you, I think that I appreciated how productive I'll say many people were. I know people were at home fooling around in their pajamas and really taking advantage of their companies in the beginning, but I think we reeled it in towards the end of the pandemic.
Yes, yes. For me, I was ready to get back into the office. I know some people found a new way of life saying, hey, I could also do my job at home, which cuts back on gas prices. I don't have to drive as far. I have more time with my family. Yep. All that's great. But you don't get a pay raise to go do the same job that you were originally doing. Maybe you negotiate something and saying, hey, listen, I'll take a pay cut if I could work from home because you are saving a little bit of money. You're saving some time. You definitely should not get a pay raise.
No one's going to
raise their hand for a pay cut to be home?
You should never get. You're never getting a pay raise to come back and do the exact same job that you were doing. That's crazy.
No, I agree, which is why I'm okay with people getting the same amount of money. It's all of what you said. The key word, production. If it's something where if I'm Verizon, if I'm work at a Verizon, and let's say I have to drive into Verizon, I'm trying to get you to get this new iPhone, but I can't sell that iPhone, but the person online who can do it through Zoom or whatever it is that's set up can sell that iPhone, that person should still be getting more money, or at least the same amount of money. I think a lot of people are going to take advantage of it.
In this situation, I'm a hypocrite because I think that working from home was beautiful to get things done as far as productivity. But if Brandon was allowed to work from home and do the show from Zoom, I'm just saying, or anybody was allowed to work from home and I had to come in the office and use my gas money and pay my auto insurance, I would be very irritated. I would try to figure out why don't we get paid differently.
What if we were doing the show and I was getting more views, I was getting more likes
from home?
Yeah, but from what I said, it's the production thing.
Fine, but let's not use the show. Let's just use somebody else. Let's use back to Verizon employee. Yeah. If Joe got to be able to work from home and I didn't, I would be frustrated even working in corporate. Like, come on, man, we do the same thing.
Now you're talking about production, so that's based on like a sales salary. So if you sell more, you get paid more. I don't think that's what we're talking about here. I think we're talking about a base salary for doing a certain job that doesn't have
like a general manager.
Right, like it doesn't have incentives sales-wise, right?
If you do the same commute is like an hour and a half, though. That's like 3 hours of your day that's getting eaten up.
You don't get a raise because we had a pandemic. That doesn't make any sense at all.
I mean, a lot of different things changed during the pandemic. This could be one of them.
Like gas prices.
Here's one thing. Maybe some companies say, we don't need so much office space. Well, you are going to work from home now. And in this case, it worked for them. But if you're just a regular person working for a job and you're like, listen, I like my slippers too much. I'm going to need a raise to come in. Get real.
The boxers on the Zoom meetings, though, a lot of people love those.
Okay, listen, before we go, we have some crazy video to show you guys that's going viral. Check out this flying car. It just completed its first test flight between 2 cities in Europe. The hybrid car aircraft can fly about 600 miles, and it takes a little more than 2 minutes to transform from car to airplane. This is like my child Jetson's dream come true.
Really?
You guys do not care?
We're not here yet, Lindsay. I'm not. We just saw a building collapse. Our infrastructure, our roads are terrible. So what are we going to do for a flying car?
Are you guys seriously negative, Nancy? When I saw the pizza delivery in other countries being tested and dropped off at people's porches, I was thrilled about that. Why are you guys so cranky about this?
Because you're not in that pizza delivery hovercraft.
No one is in it. It was flown by a drone. This is someone in it, but like someone has to test it out. Someone goes to the moon. Someone tests out everything.
I don't even like flying in an airplane. I don't need a cuter version of an airplane that could break down quicker.
Cuter.
It's like jumping out of an airplane with a parachute.
You're more likely to get in a car accident than an airplane crash, man. This is dramatic.
I don't care what it looks like.
Oh my gosh. Coming up on DBL, Grammy winner Jason Mraz. He's talking about everything from his unexpected connection with Chipotle to his new reggae-inspired album, and a warning from Dr. Fauci about vaccination rates. He's saying that the divide in America is getting very large as the Delta variant spreads.
Closed captioning provided by
One of the big mysteries surrounding the coronavirus vaccine is how long immunity will last. Now, scientists say they have solved that mystery, and the news is good, at least for some. Let's connect the dots. The new results were just published in the journal Nature. Researchers believe mRNA vaccines could provide protection against COVID-19 for the long term. We are talking about the shots produced by Pfizer and Moderna. The study did not look at the Johnson & Johnson vaccine, but the lead researcher to the New York Times says he did not believe the immune response from that shot would be as durable. According to the findings, it looks like the Pfizer and Moderna vaccines created a persistent immune reaction in the body, an immunity that could last years. Researchers reported people who had those shots may not need to get a booster dose, as long as the virus doesn't evolve drastically from its current forms. Scientists also believe that the immunity provided by the vaccines is actually better than the immunity provided by getting infected with the coronavirus. That's because it is more diverse, meaning it will do a better job at fighting variants. But the best possible immunity appears to be people who are vaccinated and recovered from COVID. Their immunity could last a lifetime. And that's connecting the dots.
Welcome back to DBL. With this new, more contagious Delta variant now accounting for more than a quarter of COVID cases, Dr. Fauci is out with a warning. Here's what he said on CNN last night.
What you are going to see among under-vaccinated regions, be they states, cities, or counties, you're going to see these individual types of blips. It's almost like it's going to be two Americas. You're going to have areas where the vaccine rate is high, where there's more than 70% of the population has received at least one dose. When you compare that with areas where you may have 35% of the people vaccinated, you clearly have a high risk of seeing these spikes in those selected areas.
So what do you guys think about the idea of two Americas, one with low vaccination rates and COVID cases spiking again, and the other where enough people get vaccinated to cut the COVID cases down? This scares me because I know a lot of people in different communities have different reasons, whether they're religious or medical or just being fearful of some of our medical history in this country, have not gotten the vaccine. But now I'm just like, what's going on in the UK can easily come over here. We saw that of everything last year. Any other country is just an arm's throw away from us when one person travels here and it spreads. So are you worried there's going to be two different Americas?
I think he's onto something here. You know what I mean? Not to be political, but I think we're already divided as a country, and this is just another reason to divide us. I think people who got the vaccine wanted their vaccine. I think people who don't want the vaccine are not going to get the vaccine. There's no convincing them, right? I'm vaccinated up to 88% for what Dr. Coley said with this new Delta variant. So I feel pretty safe for my own well-being. If you choose not to get the vaccine for whatever your reason may be, that's on you. But I feel comfortable going out, being in public, going to a sporting event. I feel good about it. So I guess I'm in that part of the world, whatever that is.
No, we are. I mean, like you said, he is onto something because we are. I mean, you're looking at it. We've done stories here where we saw that they've done concerts at LA Live for only vaccinated people that can show up and attend this concert. So we're already kind of leaning into that. And just think, if we're already been politicized over standing for a flag or who you vote for, what your voting rights are, then yes, it is going to be something when it comes to this vaccinated, if you're vaccinated or not. But I just hope that the one thing that both sides can agree on is testing, like trying to put things in place to the contract tracing. There are things that we did throughout this pandemic, like I said, the contract tracing and different things of that nature, where we're able to figure out who has it and who's not, because it's obvious, like you said, some people aren't going to get this vaccine.
But what about the people who can't get vaccinated? I just feel bad that we're now ostracized. Anybody who has like a really serious religious reason, immunocompromised or medical reason.
I thought you meant for some reasons, because I'm like, Uber's giving free rides.
No. I'm not saying you can't have access. I'm not saying access has really become really open and easy with CVS and everybody offering it even for free in some places. But I'm saying people who can't get it for whatever reason, it's kind of like, now we're like, well, you over there, and even hearing you say it, you're like, well, I feel good too, you know, walking around and going to these things.
But if you had a child that's immunocompromised.
Right, how would you feel that this is the conversation that, oh, you're over there? It's like,
that's
just
a good
dividing
point
people.
to bring up. I think I'd be a little angry, maybe, you know, like, because that person is more susceptible to gaining that and could cost them their life based on someone else's political choice, religious choice, or just personal choice, right? So I'm not that close to it, but that's a terrific question to ask.
Yeah. Right. So coming up on DBL, Jason Mraz gives us the scoop on his new reggae-inspired album. Plus, why did Jeff ask him about getting free guac from Chipotle?
Uh-oh.
Find out next.
Welcome back to DBL. Two-time Grammy winner Jason Mraz, and my favorite artist, is about to get back on the road to promote the release of his deluxe album, Look for the Good. Earlier, he joined us to talk all about it. Let's have a look.
Lucky, I'm in love with my best friend. Lucky to have been where we have been. Lucky to be coming home again.
That was none other than two-time Grammy winner Jason Mraz, and that was a new rendition of his hit song Lucky. There he is. He's joining us today. Welcome, Jason.
Hey, thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here.
Tell us about the Look for the Good deluxe album and your upcoming tour.
Last year I put out an album called Look for the Good, 12 new songs in a reggae style and fashion, and we're hitting the road finally this year now that venues and states are opening back up. And I decided I would add more songs to Look for the Good that included songs from my catalog to basically give us all a jump start on what the sounds are going to be like this summer. So on the deluxe edition, I included a new version of I'm Yours, Lucky, Make It Mine, as well as a couple of new songs as well, because I just can't stop writing songs. I try to use my superpowers for good and create good music.
Jason, I'm supposed to tone down how big of a fan I am, but I got to tell you, my wife and I have been to so many of your shows. One of our favorite pictures in our house is a photo you took with us backstage at the Hollywood Bowl. Very gracious with your time. But I love
Wow.
It was beautiful. It was wild for me as well. But I love how positive your music is, Jason. But people might not know that you really practice what you preach. Can you tell us and everybody what you're going to do with these profits from this album?
Yeah, so already I've given away $250,000 that were profits from Look for the Good. And I did that to advance Black lives and to advance programs that are helping transform our justice system and to uplift communities that have been marginalized and underserved. You know, as I said earlier, I've been blessed to be able to invent songs on guitar and piano, and I've done very well. And I feel like our world, our system was set up for a guy like me who has a dream to just go and pursue that dream. And our system isn't yet fully set up for anybody to pursue their dream. So I wanted to make sure that my dream was going to benefit others' dreams as well. So that's what Look for the Good is doing behind the scenes.
You know, Jason, they say that good people know good people, and I've been doing stand-up professionally for 13 years, and I've known Tiffany Haddish for almost all those 13. So you have to imagine how shocked I was when I saw her as a guest rapper, because I didn't know she should rap. So let me ask you this real quick: are we gonna see you do stand-up comedy?
I love stand-up comedy. I think it's one of the highest art forms because I rely on a guitar to entertain and melodies, pre-written lyrics, you know. And when I see stand-up, when there's no instrument, no prop, and you're just storytelling and you're taking everyone into their hearts, and laughter is an opportunity to breathe consciously, which is the greatest gift on this planet, is to be awake and breathing and know that you're here. And laughter really gets us there. So I've always admired comedy, and that's how I met Tiffany. I went to see one of her shows, and we had a mutual friend, and I wonder if she does music. And when I asked her, she said, yeah. And within days, we were in a studio together doing this song. It was very, very cool.
That's amazing. Now, Jason, I heard another surprising thing about you that actually has nothing to do with music. So tell us what you and Chipotle have in common.
Avocados. So after my first album, I moved out to the country, and it just so happened it was an avocado ranch. And so by living out here, the trees were planted by a farmer who planted them before I was even born. So I basically inherited his life work. As I fell in love with the trees, to prune them and feed them, to keep them growing, I learned that Chipotle is one of the largest purchasers of avocados in the country. So they knock on your door and say, we'd love to buy your avocados. And ours are organic and beautiful, so of course they want ours. So we've worked together for many, many years. This year, they asked if I would participate in their Young Illuminaries project, which is about awarding grants and scholarships to young farmers, young people who are getting into agriculture. So I'm helping to review those grants and applications, and as well as offering some mentoring to hopefully share some of my successes and some of my failures in agriculture.
So, Jason, before we go, I got one question for the whole panel. Since we're now friends, if we go to Chipotle, can we say we know Jason Mraz and we don't have to pay extra for guac?
Oh, I'll take that deal.
Absolutely. And then you just have to run really fast after they give it to you.
All right, we're going to clip that, and we're going to bring that into Chipotle. Jason said it was okay. Jason, thank you so much for joining us today. We appreciate you. DBL Nation, go out and get your copy of the deluxe edition of Look for the Good on July 16th. And don't miss Jason and his 13-piece reggae band on tour kicking off July 30th. Thank you so much, Jason.
Thanks, Jason. What a pleasure.
Come in studio next time.
My pleasure. Thank you all.
Denver, Colorado, we're going to wait for you. We'll be right back.
Promotional consideration is brought to you by
chamomile tea, melatonin, warm milk. They're just some remedies people swear by to help them get to sleep. People on social media are now adding lettuce water to the list. The idea of the green leaf brew caused a stir on TikTok when Shapla 11 steeped a couple of leaves of lettuce in hot water. The London-based TikToker's video was so hot that it received more than 1 million likes. So let's verify. Is there evidence that proves lettuce tea helps people get to sleep? Our sources: studies published with the National Library of Medicine, a sleep doctor, and a medical herbalist. Several studies found that lettuce contains lacticarium, a natural chemical that helps people relax and induce sleep. Scientists put that to the test by feeding mice Lactica sativa, which is the scientific name for lettuce. After nibbling on the leafy green, scientists noticed that lettuce increased sleep in some of the mice. Medical herbalist Todd Caldecott explains that if you make an extract out of lettuce to make a tea, there's just not going to be enough of the active ingredient to put a person to sleep.
you're not going to extract very much of this lactocarium, the active ingredients, and there's not very much in there to start with. So I doubt that it will have an observable, objective sedative effect.
Sleep specialist Dr. Michael Breas adds that neither of the studies provides enough evidence that lettuce tea or lettuce water actually helps humans with sleep.
We've got 2 studies that I've been able to review, the 2017 study and the 2019 study. To be fair, those were done in rodent models. That's the only studies that I've read about lettuce. And I just don't feel that it's a compelling enough data to be able to say, hey, everybody, go out and do something like this.
So we can verify there is no evidence that proves lettuce tea or lettuce water help a person fall asleep. Just mice. With your Verify, I'm Ariane Till. Once I'm...
Welcome back to DBL. It's time for a security alert sponsored by LifeLock. For years, the Better Business Bureau has warned older adults and seniors to be cautious of scams as they were at the highest risk. But now there's a new warning. The Federal Trade Commission says the younger generation is now at higher risk of being scammed compared to those seniors, thanks to the digital world. Get this, 44% of people ages 20 to 29 have lost money to fraud or scams. That's actually more than double the amount of the people ages 70 to 79. On average, scammers steal about $150 from younger people, from the younger population, tricking them with online ads and sales. So if your information has been breached, LifeLock is here to help. LifeLock helps you and your digital identity stay secure from cyber criminals. Call 1-800-439-9017 or visit lifelock.com to learn more.
Yeah, I can see why the younger, the 20 to 29-year-olds are getting scammed, because you see so many comments on people's pages, DM for collab, and a lot of the time those are scams, you know. Yeah. But I just wanted to go back to the building collapse, the first responders for being out there, and I just wanted to thank them so much, and I just hope that we honor them a lot better than the 9/11 responders, because remember, a lot of them died from cancer-like problems and all after that, and they had to have a whole lawsuit. So thank you all for running to the roar, as they say.
That's an aspect we haven't even talked about yet. So thanks for bringing that up.
Right, it's really important. So DBL is new every single day. We'll see you guys same time, same place tomorrow. Thanks for joining us.